said, hey, hey, forth and back, and just like that, you're going down for heaven's gate. Down to the right, we're going down. So, this is what happened. Brianna's such a goddess, could get anyone she likes. But when she's looking at me like that, I know she's only mine. My friends think she's so dumb and stupid, but I won't tell anyone. Her hands are in my hair, whispering in my ear. I won't tell anyone, not a soul. But when we are alone, she's touching me. Well, I'm a sucker for it, give it to me. The way she's looking at me, she's so damn perfect. It's so damn worth it, the secret we keep.
eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck.
For some reason, I am having trouble with my freaking camera, like right before the show started. Give me 1 minute, guys, and I will hopefully get this started. It is a pain in the ass for sure, for sure. It's, I guess, just something we're going to deal with tonight. It's okay, it's fine. But yeah, it's just being a pain in the dick. Just do this. Let's see if this will work. Oh, that's not it. Don't know why it does this, but it does. And it's being a real pain in the ass about it, too. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. I am, other than this, doing pretty damn good. Had a great day. Hope everybody else did as well. If not, man, I don't know what to tell you. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh man, what a pill. Let's see this. Let's see. Never a dull moment for me. Welcome everyone again to the show. Sorry, no camera at the moment. I do want to go. I do want to give shout outs to the people who got here early. My man, Smoking Spaceman, was first in the house, followed by Anson Nelson. Anson Nelson? No, that's not right. Anson, what okay, is his name? Anson Knowles. That's that guy. Anson Knowles. He uses so many names, it's hard to tell. Raging Patriot showed up, and he's been cool. So that's awesome. And yeah, we're just trying to get this thing going on here, and it just, for whatever reason, it is not working. So let's let's do this. Let's just do that. Done deal. And let's go here. And let's see. Sorry, guys. This is very unprofessional, but this literally happened last minute. And so I'm going to fix this really quick. I apologize once again. Very unprofessional. I see a Hims is out there. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad to have you in the house. Glad to have you out there tonight for sure. There we go. Just do this. Probably should have done this a while ago. Just didn't. Now let's see if we can get this camera going on here. Let's go like that. There we go. Just like that. All right. Everyone just be cool. As I was saying, Raging Patriot came on in tonight. Ahimsa is in the house. Agrillapolis is here. Awesome. Very good to see you, sir. Have not seen you around in a little bit. I see you other places, but haven't seen you here. OG is in the house. What about that? Yes, you can help with the technical difficulties and look cool doing so by going and getting some merch. Am I serving goy slop again tonight? No, I never did. You did, which is really weird. We are gonna address some of the things that Anson kind of touched on last night, and just kind of, look, I'm not rubbing your face in it, I promise. Thumping Weevil is in the house. How are you? And Steve Posey, how are you? I am in a good mood. Had a great day. We'll talk about it in a moment. Good to see you, Steve Posey. Angel Berber is back in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Angel Berber is actually one of my favorite people out there. He is a very honest and direct individual, and I admire those two qualities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at some point during this show, you may find yourself overwhelmed. You're going to want to rant. You're going to want to rave. I'm looking at you, Anson Knowles. You're going to want to say stupid things and talk stupid shit. And when that happens, I want to remind you.
Everyone does it. Now you can do it too. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
Yes. You can do it too. When you feel the urge to spurg, to spaz, it's really easy. Just shut the fuck up, because nobody wants to actually hear it. Not from you. They want to hear it from me. I'm the host. You are not. Now, we talked a little bit hold on. One more thing. You may or may not know it. I have an alternative channel where I talk about firearms, firearm accessories, talk about shooting matches. I talk about all things cool, and it's really a good time. And it looks like this. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Gun prattle. It's the way of the future. Join the club. Join the club. So Anson Knowles is out there talking shit, and that's okay. We really need to look on is what's really going on here. Okay, is this just another war? Is this the Israelis manipulating us? And if so, what is our end game, if you will? So what matters right now is not the ownership of the oil fields or the ships that transport them, or even even Iran. We don't care about owning Iran, right? It's control of the flow system. Kind of expect flow state to show up at mention of his name. However, it's control of that system, where the oil flows and where the money flows with it. This is a hard concept for some people to understand. The U.S. has effectively built a new model, if you will, of energy leverage. We've demonstrated and we've refined it with Venezuela. We took their oil tanker and kept it. We still have it. It's ours. We own it. And instead of seizing the sources outright and the resources outright, which would be wrong, those belong to people, right? Well, that's wrong. The communists do that. We don't do that. What we've done is we've developed a system that controls who can buy, who can ship, and where that money settles. You understand? So basically, and now this is a byproduct. I'm going to digress from it. This is a byproduct of us not wanting terrorists to be funded by drug and oil and other very high cash generating, lucrative, and very illegal in some aspects forms of trade. This is a byproduct of that. We have to understand that this is a byproduct of that. We're not trying. I don't think, and I think that it's apparent. It should be apparent that we're not really trying here to control the means of production. We're not trying to burn poppy fields anymore. We don't give a shit about that. But we did start out there, and our goal was specifically to prevent these mass amounts of dollars being filtered into terrorist and drug abusers' hands. So instead of seizing resources outright, we have developed a system that controls who can buy that stuff, who can ship it, where the money goes. So in Venezuela, after the regime change, which was successful, we won that 100%. And the targeted sanction adjustments back in January, our efforts accelerated in mid-March. That was just a few weeks ago, when the Treasury issued a broad general license authorizing transactions with the PDVSA explicitly to stabilize global supplies while we're doing the Iran war. Okay. Venezuelan oil exports surged, right? I don't know the exact number, but it's over 1 million barrels a day. It's well over that, right? Back in March, I remember it was a big deal. Came out that for the first time in a long time, the oil production hit over 1 million barrels out of Venezuela. It was great. That's up 48%, 49% from February's number, which was in the 700 range, 700,000 range barrels a day. And it's the highest figure in the previous 6 months. Production has climbed and continues to climb in Venezuela with trading houses that deal in oil. Okay, we got a super chat here. It's not going to TTS, so I'm going to read it. $2 from the Raging Patriot, 1776er. Send Grid One money now or anytime during the show. Anything over $5 American gets read by a very charming British voice. Please do that. Absolutely. Okay. Now, Gorilla Polis says, continue to donate. Yeah. China, if the report's right, only has 2 billion barrels of oil in storage. Wow, that's crazy. We'll touch back on that. I had not heard that number. I knew it was low. I had not heard that number. Okay. So production ramps up. You've got trading houses. I don't know. I don't know who the trading houses are for oil. But these are approved channels that can buy and sell the oil. And they're approved by us, not NATO, not the UN, none of that bullshit. They're approved by us. Chevron specifically, who was already dealing, and a lot of their oil came out of Venezuela because they had deals in place. Chevron has ramped up far more production than they have before, and they're moving, but they've got cargoes moving into India and Caribbean into storage. We're actually storing oil offshore. Now, this is not our oil per se. It's not oil that we're using here in the United States. We don't even own the means of production, but we control, again, the flow of the oil, where it goes, and who gets the money and where the money settles. So the payments remain routed through supervised U.S. overseen financial structures. There's no free flow back into Caracas or Algiers or any of that nonsense where the terrorists can siphon off that money and use it against us. Okay. Iran's not getting any of that money, Anson. And this is all licensed, traceable money. It's just banking. It's normal banking like any of us have to do. And the best part is we require no direct occupation. None. Now, I've talked about this before. I keep talking about it because it's hard for most people to really wrap their head around the idea of this is really what modern warfare actually looks like. Sure, blowing things up is cool and it sends a message, but the real modern warfare is in the back offices and the banks, and we right now are getting shit done. Now, let's talk about Iran. If we apply the same framework, and we are, to Iran, it's already being pressured there. We are already doing it. If we around Iran and the oil flowing through the Middle East, especially the critical export hubs, we will then control where that money goes, and the impact would be on a global scale, right? Like this is big deal. This is huge. Iran's output hovered around 3.5 million barrels a day, entering the conflict back in. What the hell's going on with my damn camera? This is crazy with the camera today. I don't know what's up. I must have a bad cable or something. Yeah, so 3.5 million barrels a day back in February, prior to the conflict. March production slipped a little bit. It's okay. They are still kind of fighting a war over there, but they're not really fighting that much. Exports cratered, Anson. The exports of oil have cratered 45%. Yeah, and they can't even pump the oil, but even if they could, they can't go. It can't go anywhere. Cratered the exports. The exports are done. They're in the toilet. I think it's 1.1 million barrels per day being exported, which is literally a third what they had before. Now, most of that, which is now grinding to a halt because even the Chinese can't get through now. Most of that was these so-called shadow tankers from China. And so even if I were to grant you, Anson, and I won't, but even if I were to grant you that Iran is still able to move oil, which they aren't, even if I wanted to grant you that, it's irrelevant because China can't get it and they can't do anything with it. So it's just crazy. Like, this is like you are. I don't know if you're actually trolling me at this point, where you just want me to prove all this stuff out, but it's insane, the line of reasoning that you have right now. It's absolutely like you should talk to Candace. She will love the shit that you're saying. So even if the sanctions are temporary, right? And we do have waivers on some Iranian cargoes, right? The blockade and port restriction have choked the flows, which has forced Tehran to burn through their storage, while the U.S., still has Venezuela open. We just open the tap. We can give whoever we want oil. Now, let's talk about the ramifications here. If we bring even a fraction of Iran's volume output into licensed dollar-linked export systems and supervised payment structures, as we have with Venezuela, if we do what we did in Venezuela with Iran, and you then reroute hundreds of millions of dollars in daily settlements, and it flows away from the alternate channels to terrorism, to drug dealers, and all that stuff. It flows away from that and back into the legitimate ecosystem. The legitimate non-human trafficking, non-terrorist, non-drug market. It flows back into the legitimate market. And that helps stabilize most economies, or it will. It hasn't yet, but it will, which is what we're seeing down in Venezuela. Their economy is stabilizing because the money is not being routed into criminals anymore. It's being routed back into legitimate society. This is what we're doing, and we are winning. Literally, there's no metric that you can apply where we are not winning this. So anyway, I could talk about the oil indexes and that kind of thing. It's not really that important, but the most important thing is that the shift is not territorial. It's infrastructural. It's to control the flow of oil, the flow of money, control the currency away from criminal activities, which we are not able to do right now, which we have not been able to do for a very long time, and which is why these terrorist organizations have been able to operate. This is why they can buy rockets. This is why they can shoot down airliners. This is why they can do all of those things. This is how chess is played. This is how we are winning overall. Now, you're correct. They don't control 20 to 30% of the oil fertilizer trade. However, 20 to 30% of the fertilizer trade goes through the Strait of Hormuz. That's what you actually mean. You don't mean that they control it. You mean that it goes through the Strait of Hormuz, and they don't control shit in the Strait of Hormuz right now. Literally nothing. They have literally no control of the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know where you're getting your information, but when you can turn on almost any television channel in the world, any news channel in the world, and see ships steaming right through, except for Iranian and Chinese, and I think maybe some Russian ships, Those guys can't go anywhere, but everybody else can. When you can't, they don't control. Iran doesn't control anything right now. They can't even control their own bowels. They're literally shitting themselves right now. They have nothing. Iran is about to become a vassal state of the United States, and you know it, Anson. You know they are. I am not wrong. I'm 100%. It's embarrassing how wrong I am. It's embarrassing how wrong you are. But I like you, Anson. And it's awesome. It was awesome because you made me actually go back and look at the numbers today. And I was actually shocked. I was actually shocked that we have crippled the oil production in Iran by 2/3. That's insane. Like that's crazy. Crippled them. They don't even have enough oil for themselves to operate on. I didn't know the thing about China. If that's true about China, that China's going to put a massive wedgie on Iran to come to the table and do the right thing and quit being a bunch of tards. That's going to be the next play. I did not realize it was that. If that is true, whoever put that up, which I could scroll back and find it, but whoever put up that China only has X number of barrels of oil left, if that is true, the Chinese are about to literally throw the Iranian government so far under the bus they can't even see it. You know what's really embarrassing, Anson, is that the supposed spiritual leader of Iran is either in hiding or he's dead. Either way, not effective. So anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the opening monologue, and I'm going to keep talking here for a little bit, but it's really interesting how all of this goes down, right? Like it's really interesting how if you just look at the war, it's like Iran's the bad neighbor that everybody wants to get rid of because they're embarrassing, because they fight with everybody, they just don't give a shit, and all this kind of stuff. They're realistically like they're the people you call the HOA on. It's easy to look at it that way, but then when you really start digging into like the money side of it, and there's all of these other things, China's going to be pissed if they only have that if they have that low a stock of oil. Yes, India is pissed because an Indian ship was attacked. The French had a French soldier killed in Lebanon by Hezbollah. Yeah, so now Iran's going to disavow the Hezbollah people. They're going to say that those guys are not part of Iranian forces and it's no fight of theirs, and yet they keep selling them guns or giving them guns or training them or whatever. I think as far as the world is concerned, Hezbollah and the Iranian military are basically one and the same. I don't know. You don't want me on that jury. Yeah, that's just the way it is. But basically everybody, the English are now pissed at Iran. I actually thought England was going to stay out of it. I thought the UK would stay out of it because, of course, you have a real issue there with so many Muslims in the UK, but it seems like the UK is now getting tough on Iran. Anson, look, Iran is going to change. Iran is going to get better and do the right thing, or they're going to cease to exist as anything other than the largest Walmart parking lot in the world. It's just the way it is. So anyway, in other news, we've got a lot going on in the government today, and it's even though it's Saturday, we've got a lot going on. It's been an interesting week overall, and it's Saturday. I only looked into this stuff today. I only prepared my opening monologue because Anson was so so wrong last night, you know, just so wrong. Anson, I think we're more feared than ever right now. I honestly think that everybody on the planet is now like really actually probably taking, I mean, I think for a long time, people have kind of thought that all we would do is rattle our sabers and put a few troops on the ground and that was it. But now, like, we're seriously screwing Iran. I mean, we're fucking Iran up. Let's just be honest. Like, they don't have anything that we haven't destroyed. Although they are hiding in these bunkers that they built underground. So fear is the worst way to run an empire. Yeah, we're not running an empire that way. However, a good, healthy fear being held by the natives is a good thing. And you know that. Come on. You're not. You're just trolling now. So, you know, I mostly agree with you, Anson. However, the problem is that we have for the last 50 fucking years not used our power. We've not gone over there and done what we needed to do, which is what we're doing right now, and that is root out the source problem and get rid of it, and then hand it over to the other Arab states. My only concern right now, I'm going to be honest with you, Anson has a point. An actual true point, and I don't know if he's trolling with this or if he really means this, but the one point he has is, if when all of this is over, right? So in 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, when Iran's finally fucking done, they're cooked. There's not shit left. There's nothing. There's no, you know, we've busted all their bunkers. We've, you know, sealed them in their caves, whatever the fuck, and it's over. My one concern is that the United States government, the .gov, instead of doing the right thing and doing what we've said we're going to do, and that is hand over the enforcement in the Middle East to the however 7 or 8 countries that are supposed to be doing it, and us going right back into the enforcement role. I don't have an opinion on the New York City tax. I can look it up and give you an opinion. But I mean, look, this is a problem with our government in general, is that once we win, we then give it away or we do the wrong thing. And the wrong thing in this case would be to stay and try and continue to be the enforcement arm. Right. Angel Berber is right. There's a reason the Western EU is so afraid of us leaving NATO and is now trying to join in on Iran after we have done all the heavy lifting. That's correct. We have taken actions others avoided for decades, including us. We've been pussies dealing with Iran as well. Look, the way Trump has positioned us, whether he did it, whether his cabinet did it, whether it was a bunch of financial dudes that just dreamed this shit up, the way he's positioned us to control the flow of money that is currently being used and abused to fund. It's genius. It's genius. It's been needed. Control the flow of money from oil is great. That's what needed to happen. That way they can't just siphon off $500 million and give it to some warlord to wage wars, and they go out and buy, you know, just cratefuls of missiles and shit like that. We don't want that. We need to move past that. But we need to remove their ability to do so as easily as they do it. The reason that we've been staying in the Middle East so long, if you're just not aware, if you haven't been paying attention, is that we are the enforcement arm in the Middle East. It's us. It's not Saudi Arabia. It's not Israel. It's not Jordan. It's not Kuwait. It's not any of those fuckers. So when Jordan has a problem with Egypt, when Egypt has a problem with who the fuck ever, there's not an enforcement arm there to say, hey, stop. When Iraq runs over the border, there's nobody to say, hey, Iraq, stop that shit, except us. That's why they hate us. They're right to do so, to be honest. Iran is not the enforcement arm. That's insane. Iran's over there just literally blowing other countries up for no good reason. Like that it's literally terrorist. They literally are the country that creates terrorism. What's up, Dusty? How are you? Anson's just being contrarian now. He knows better. It'll be interesting to see Saudi Arabia put their money where it is. Yeah. Anson's really being contrarian now. That's cool. We'll see, Anson. We'll see. We'll see in about 6 weeks. This position we have been put in by this administration is a long-term fortification resource, and force-wise, we may actually see a Western Hemisphere dominated and fortified by the U.S. in my lifetime. True. What is up, David Wayne? How are you, sir? Cleaner 409. These people are stupid. 40 years ago, we used JDAM's bunker busters. This war, what beat their ass? JDAMs and bunker busters. World Tech advanced 40 years. They think War Tech didn't. Yeah, that's right. World Tech, I think War Tech didn't. Yeah, it's true. Saudi Arabia is going to lose their Western pipeline and take it out. That's wrong. Anson, literally everybody's winning except Iran, and you somehow think Iran is winning. That is the craziest thing you've ever said. And you've said a lot of really crazy shit. But Iran has taken the biggest L's so far. It's just crazy. The interesting thing to me, probably I'm the only one, is how controlled even the Saudis and the Qatari and the fucking Jordanians have been. I expected, did anybody else expect this? Did anybody else expect, did you have on your card that when Jordan started shooting missiles into Iran, when Saudi Arabia started shooting missiles into Iran, when Egypt started bombing Iran with their little airplanes, did anyone have on their card that those strikes would be pretty structured and pretty well aimed to minimize civilian casualties, to minimize the destruction to the people who actually called for this war, right? Like it was the 70 or 80% of citizens who are sick of their leadership that actually precipitated this war. Welcome back, OG. How are you? Good to see you. But yeah, Anson's out there projecting. The problem with Anson is that he's a contrarian. I like that, and I like that. But he's wrong on this one. Normally, I would be a little bit of a contrarian too. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Seeing the majority in the Middle East turn on Iran wasn't on the bingo card really shows who those countries believe the winning horse is. You know, Angel Berber, I actually believe that they've wanted this for a while. I think everybody's been sick of Iran shit for a long time. You know, I actually read some liberal post today. Let me know if you've seen this, where it had like conflicts Iran had started, and it had like 2 minor ones, and then conflicts the US has started, and it had this whole long list. And but the funny thing is is Iran doesn't start conflicts. They send out terrorists to bomb churches and bomb airplanes and blow up ships and literally prey on civilians and not military targets. And this is why I actually can't stand the leadership of Iran. They're not interested in bombing military targets. They're not interested in sinking US naval warships. No, 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 no. No, they want to take out an airliner, you know. They want to blow up a passenger liner on the seas, you know. Like they're it's irredeemable, right? Like there's no honor in their government. And Anson knows it. Most allies rely on U.S., Israel intelligence, even intelligence agencies. Sure, I'm positive that U.S. has pretty good intel, and love them or hate them, which I honestly don't. I just don't care anything about the Israelis at all. But love them or hate them, you got to give them a side credit for being some sneaky bastards and having a well-developed spy system, whether you like them or not. Yeah. Anyway, that was my opening speech. Let's talk about some other cool stuff. So I went out today and I shot a match. Oh, I didn't shoot a match. My son shot a match. He's shooting trap, which is an interesting sport, and it's really cool. It's a good time, and it's kind of one of those almost family shooting events, right? We just go out and you sit on picnic tables and you watch your kids shoot and you break some clays and yeah, have a picnic, and it's fun. It's great. Go out to dinner afterward with the whole team, and everything's great. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And I sell propane and propane. No, I sell firearms and firearms accessories. And actually, I don't even sell firearms or firearms accessories. I just buy them. So you're absolutely off base on that, just like I've been everything else. I buy firearm and firearm accessories. So, yeah, that so went out, did that today with the young man, and I've got to say that I'm really pretty impressed with the young man and his friends and how they acquit themselves amongst their peers. At one point, we were shooting, and this younger, I'm assuming he was younger, he was definitely shorter, young man, was missing, missing targets, and at the halfway point, that kid was just crying, man. I mean, he literally was crying. He was just so broken up that he wasn't having the tournament that he wanted, wasn't doing well. And and his coach came over, his coach or grandfather, whatever it was, came over and was talking to him, said, "Hey man, got to think about it. You hadn't had any warm up. You haven't shot trap all week. This, just you came out cold. You're doing okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine." I thought that was cool. I thought that was real cool. And it's interesting to watch your kids compete and interact with their friends and other people. So the way my son acts, he acts like he's another coach. Matter of fact, he was mistaken today for a coach. Yes, I do indeed sell merch. I do indeed sell merch. Get your merch at gunprattle.net/merch. Just go to gunprattle.net. You'll find it. Got shirts and we got hats and they got a bunch of other stuff. And more stuff is coming, I promise. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for someone that designs T-shirts and things like that for merchandise. And I'd rather pay somebody, from the audience than pay somebody overseas on Fiverr or whatever. So if you happen to be one of those people that's decent like T-shirt artist or graphic artist, whatever, let me know. We'll see. But yeah, T-shirts, stickers, all that kind of stuff. I've got to get the merch store fleshed out and start peddling some stuff here. Yeah, so uh, it's been an interesting weekend in the online sphere as well. I don't know if you guys have listened to anything I've been saying lately. Obviously, last night I was a little aggravated with what went down in various places. And it's interesting to me because um, as much as the it's let me frame this correctly. There are people who think that they agree with me, or I would think that I would agree with them on almost everything. For whatever reason, they get a little, I don't know what the word is here. Get to be dumbasses. And because I don't agree with them point for point, or because I talk to certain people, or because I do whatever, ooh, I'm not cool anymore. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Okay, guy. I'm not cool. Actually, you know what really isn't cool? Acting like anyone gives a fuck. There's some people in your chat that agree with you. You see me sitting here talking to Anson Knowles, who's very much disagreeing with me. He may not even actually believe it. The interesting thing is Anson Knowles will disagree with me on shit that he doesn't even believe in, just so that he and I can have a good discussion. Actually starting to believe that he actually believes all of this Israeli bullshit, which is fine. I have a lot of friends of mine. It's a dividing point between a lot of people. I personally could give a fuck one way or the other. I only care about what the U.S. is doing, and what the U.S. is doing is putting foot to ass on Iran, which they needed to have done 30 years ago, and we just didn't. So it's cool. I digress. The point is, I can disagree with Anson. We're cool. I think. I can disagree with anybody. It doesn't make them any less cool. But we got some real chicken dick motherfuckers out there right now. They want to come in, talk shit, want to act like they know more. They want to act like they know me. They talk about me like they know me. That's how I know they don't know me. Very interesting. Really interesting. But also kind of boring. On to other things. DebateCon is coming up in Dallas. There is a very real chance that I will duplicate the event that I had here in November in Dallas. Working with some people right now, talking about it. I've got several different people that want me to do it. Want me to do basically the same type of event, same sort of vibe, if you will. Go in, get a great venue, put together some food, some cool ass people, you know, have a full day of badass debates, live stream, back to back to back to back. I think it'll be cool. I think it would be very cool. I have been asked to do this. I think it would be cool. I was just going to go and hang out, to be honest with you, but you know, we got some good chance of getting some real lefties to come out and debate, which I love. Not as fun as Nashville, yeah, that's for sure. You weren't here, Ahimsa, in Nashville. Nashville was lit. If you haven't seen the video, it is on my site. We live streamed the entire day. We had 4 debates. It was fucking amazing. We topped off with Rob Noor versus our friend Tom Foolery, and it was lit. It was live. It was a great debate. All of the debates were good, top shelf, couldn't get any better. I did not charge admission in Nashville. I don't know that we're going to charge admission in Dallas, but if we do it, we've got to come up with some way to cover the cost. I'm not going to bear that. In Nashville, I paid for everything. Nobody paid a dime but me. I'm not going to do that again, especially in Dallas. It's, you know, this isn't my monkey. It's not my football. I'm not fucking either one of them. So, yeah, Ahimsa, Dallas would be great. It's not as fun as Nashville. Yeah, absolutely. Pew-pews are more welcome in Nashville than they are in Dallas, to be honest with you. We have open carry and concealed carry as long as you can legally own a firearm. You do not need a permit at all. And, yeah, you carry whatever fuck you want. So, but Dallas is okay, too. Dallas is quite cool. And it'll be a lot of fun. We do have some resources there. We've got some bunch of people that are willing to help out. So I'll have to figure out some kind of funding of this event. It won't be much, I don't think. Basically, the cost of the venue, maybe some food. You know, it's not a whole lot. That's it. You know, it's not a big deal. I don't think it'll cost nearly as much as Nashville did. Nashville, I spent a lot of money on Nashville because it was rad. But yeah, there you go. What's up, Cam the King? How are you? Was thinking about you today. I was hoping you would pop in, and here you are. We're looking for a venue in Dallas that we can rent, hold 100 people or so we can do a debate con event. I know Dallas is your backyard, so I'm hoping that you can help me out. So hit me up on the Discord, or I think you might even have my phone number. If you do, hit me up and let me know, because I need boots on the ground out there in Dallas land. Yeah. So, but yeah, if we do it in Dallas, it will be legit. The last time I partnered with the Crucible, I largely partnered with the Crucible to do it. This time I'm still going to partner with the Crucible. However, this is not a Crucible event. This is not, Andrew. Andrew made a solid point to me when on the last event that a large number of the people who came were Crucible people, and they came, probably they came because we all thought that he was going to be there, and he did. He showed up. Of course, he did. But I think this time, I don't know. I'm sure Andrew might show up, but I'm not going to count on it. This is not, I'm certainly going to promote it. I'll promote it in every Discord, not just a Crucible. But this will be a completely separate event from DebateCon. It will be a completely separate event from. It's not hosted by. It's not in. It's literally in Nashville. I don't think I made it clear enough that it was my event. This time we're going to understand it's my event, and I certainly hope Andrew will be there. I hope Rob shows up. I hope all of those guys show up. I hope everybody comes by and meets each other and has a great time. And we have some great debates. Admiral Gibbs is going to be helping with it. Pentuple. Yeah, everybody said that it was a top-notch event. Literally nobody complained about anything at my event. They said it was better than DebateCon, and it was a lot more fun. I promise you it will still be the same. So it is not in November. I want to say it is the last week of June or July, last week of July, maybe. We have the dates. Let me see. It might be in my Discord. Give me one sec. Let me jump over here. And obviously it's in Dallas, so there's plenty of hotels. There's plenty, it's easy to fly into. It's all the things, right? And there's enough notice for people to start putting money back and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Yeah, and yes, it was really a top-notch event. I'm not gonna lie. It was so it looks like July 24th. It's the weekend of July 24th. So if you guys want to show up, that'd be great. If you want to pimp it out, that'll be great. I'm on the fence about it. Let me check. I need to check my calendar, actually. I don't know. My calendar up? Where's my calendar? There it is. I think that weekend's open for me. June, July. Yeah, I think July 24th, I'm totally open. Don't have anything going on. Which would be great. Be just great. So GridCon 2, round 2, will be in the Dallas area, I think. But of course, again, I got to find some way to pay for this shindig. It's not all coming out of my pocket. I would love to work with partners. I would love to work with sponsors and keep the event free for all who show up. We may do donations. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But I don't think it's going to be a very expensive event to put on. It has been a minute. I've been wondering where you were. Yeah, let me know, my man, Cam, if you can find us a decent place. It's got some, we probably need room for about 100 people, and we need, we need an area where people can congregate and kind of party and have a good time, and then we need a place for the debates. So like the venue we had in Nashville was perfect. It would be great if we could have a similar event. And it's gonna be hot as fuck. So yeah, it's big. All right, cool. Well, I tell you what, Cam, hit me up. Let me know. Let's put something together. It does look like I'm going to do this event. Everyone is invited. I want to put this out there. There's no one that's not invited. No, if I don't care if you don't like each other, anybody can show up. I do have armed security. My event in Nashville, we had armed security. The event in Dallas will have armed security. Right? It's just the way it's going to be. So be cool. If you can't be cool, don't be there. That's all. That's how it rolls. That's how we roll down up and down there. So, let's make it happen, Captain. Let's make it all. Everybody come out. Everybody have a good time. We're gonna have a great event. I think it'll be awesome. I might debate this time, so we'll see. GridCon 2. I guess we're going to do it. I was kind of, I was on the fence, but we'll make it. We'll see if it happens. Yeah, get in touch with me, man. We got time, you know. We got some a warehouse will be kind of perfect. Yeah, we just need, like I said, really, it should be pretty easy. I mean, it's Dallas. There's got to be tons of places for not very much money for one day. It's like a 1 day rental, like start in the morning, end in the evening. So we'll end at like midnight or some shit. So there you go, guys. You heard it here first. Where the hell's Gibbs at? Gibbs is the one that put all this shit together. So Admiral Gibbs is definitely going to be there. He's already booked his hotel room and bought his tickets to DebateCon. I've got some friends there also in that I have some friends in that area too that are members down at ETTS in Waxahachie. We may do a range day again. I love to do range days. I think it's awesome to do those. So we'll probably have a range day if you want to, bring some firearm and firearm accessories and come on out. We'll have a great time. Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Yeah, we'll have food. We'll have a good time. It'll be a big party. You know who we need is Jake from State Farm. We need Jake. I mean, Jake VO Pod, who I have not seen in a long minute. I don't know what that guy's doing. Yeah, you're out there. I know some guys out there too. So maybe I can get in touch with them and see if they'll have us out to just hang out at the range one day and just do a range day. It'd be cool. So, yeah. I apologize, guys. All right. Does anybody want to come up and chat for a while? That would be cool. I'm sorry. I've been kind of just prattling on here all by myself, but you're certainly welcome, everyone. Pretty much everyone's welcome to come on up and chat. Be totally cool with me. $2 from Raging Patriot. Pockets and make it rain. Absolutely, guys. Make it rain because I will put on the best event you've had in a long time. Start saving your nickels, get your bus fare or airplane fare or gas money together, and come on out and have a good time at my event. My boy, my friend and yours. Average Debate Enjoyer will be there. Abbers Unleashed will be there. Pentuple will be there again. We've got some peoples. Peoples are going to come up. They're going to be out there. They're going to be doing stuff. We got a lot. We got a lot of stuff to go on here. We got a lot of things. What's up, Casper? I'm assuming that is Angry Casper. Good to see you in the house, Angry I haven't seen Angry Casper in my chat in months. My man, how are you, sir? I have a question for people, and look, you can just kind of think about this, but you notice that there were a lot of people that made a big splash in this community the last year, right? Soy Pill, right? Various other people. I don't hear anything about soy pill anymore. What do I want to talk? I don't care. We can talk about anything. Mullet Baby says, since I'm a businessman, if you or your account made an error saying you went from 30 million to just 100,000 in assets due to accounting errors, would I be charged with tax fraud? I would not, but my accountant probably would be. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think that there's been some things happen along those lines. So you don't think So Loud is Casper? I think So Loud is Casper. But we'll find out. Kel's still trying to be sober. As far as I know, she popped up the other night. She popped up the other night. She pops up from time to time. She'll just randomly be in a stream. She'll say hi and then she'll pop off. I think she's still trying to be sober, and I think that she's got a new job and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So, you know, I think she's trying to be cool. I don't know. And I think maybe she's just kind of, I don't know. Well, that might not be Angry Casper. So Loud might be somebody else. Rest in peace, White Claw stock. That's true. Hey, guys, have you seen that the Black Rifle Coffee Company stock? It opened up around, I think, around like $14, went to like 20, and it's been just in a decline ever since. It's down to like 80 cents or something like that per share. And I think I'm actually I may buy some because I understand why their stock went down, right? They have a lot of bad public opinion. However, it's a small minority of people who gave that bad opinion, and they were some of the ones that bought stocks to start with. But now I'm seeing Black Rifle Coffee in Bass Pro, Sportsman's. It's obviously, if it's in Bass Pro, it's in Cabela's. I'm seeing it literally everywhere. Yeah. I think Casper uses a So Loud moniker sometimes. But hey, man, if it's not Casper, that's fine. It's cool too. You guys got to, you know, it'd be cool if everybody just used like their normal stuff. What's up, Naomi? How are you? That's just the thing. I think it is making a profit, but I think they had to spend a shit ton of money, and they've taken a beating and they've got a ton of bad press because they've come out neutral on some things, and actually, you know, they've taken just a lot of bad press, which I think is deserved. So I So yeah, I think it'd be cool. You're training horses, so you've been crazy busy. Yeah, it's that time of year to be training the horses. I actually had a really interesting thing the other day. You know how people are always virtue signaling, like they just can't get enough of it? Um, well, so there was this, and this was back when the weather was neurotic here, where you would have one day we would have cleaner message me on Discord. I I don't I keep I don't know where you're lost in the sea of um uh you're lost in the sea of messages there. Anyway, so yeah, I think that that's true. I think that's true. Anyway, so we had this locally. We had there's a we have a bunch of horse people here, and then we have a bunch of people who don't know shit about horses. These people have horses, and they leave them out, and the they leave the horses out, and the horses have trees to stand under and all of that. And somebody complained to animal services about these horses standing out in the field when it was cold. And they were like, why don't they at least put blankets on them? And then, of course, all of the actual horse people said, well, those horses have lived there a long time. They're very used to it. They're outside animals. If they put blankets on them all the time, then the hair doesn't grow, and then they have to be in the barn and they have to have blankets all the time. And this is why that whoever owns those horses isn't putting blankets on the horses. Now, when they get in the summertime, and they'll come into their short hair and get trimmed up and look like horses again. But in the meantime, they look raggedy. They're in their winter coats and all of that. Right? Yeah, exactly, Naomi. That's exactly what the actual horse people were saying the same thing. They're like we they don't just randomly fucking blanket the horses. They don't keep them put them in barns and shit because they're animals that live outside. And these people were like, there was probably and I'm going to be honest with you, every single fucking one of them was a woman that was bitching about these horses not being cared for properly. And all of the men that commented in this chat, all of the men were like, "You don't know shit about horses. Stop talking." Like, it was the funniest thing I've read in a while. Yeah, right. Yeah, it hinders the hair growth if you blanket them all the time. They won't get the long hair, and then you have to blanket them, and you have to keep them in the barn, or they'll freeze to death. So it's like you like I could see you don't know shit about horses, right?
That's the dumbest thing ever. Like you put a blanket on a horse if it's going to be cold for one night, and you don't want them to go through winter shock early, if yeah, and
Yeah,
start developing, because then they lose their summer coat early, and
right,
it
right.
fucks with them.
It does fuck with them. They're outside creatures, and it was very funny. Like it was really hilarious to deal with, and I mean, I was reading this. It was in a because I pay attention to a lot of the rural for media streams, and because I live in a rural area, I have a property that's rural, and yeah, you always need to know who's bush hogging, what they're charging, who's baling hay, all that kind of. You got to know this stuff, if you live where I live. And I just thought it was the funniest damn thing I'd ever seen was these virtue signaling dumbass women. And they were all like literally every person that commented that those poor horses, the city should do something, the county should do something. Why isn't animal control out there? Blah, 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 blah. Every single one was a woman. And probably, yes, Naomi, they were probably liberal city women who are dumb as fuck. I thought it was hilarious, and it's a mass amount of virtue signaling. Want to
Yeah.
hear an absurd, political, true, fun story about a single pony? Yes, absolutely. Would you like to come up and tell the story? If you would, find me on Discord and let's talk about it. It's Cleaner. How the hell are you, man?
I'm doing all right. I saw some funny little takes earlier today, like, Iran going, "Rawr!" And then Trump goes, "Yeah, that's cute." Bam. He literally told them he said they're behaving cutely or something like that, They're being cute.
It's really funny. It's actually really, really funny, the whole thing with Iran right now. Now, look, I actually get the because I'm a non-interventionist, right? And
Right.
I think that what we're doing over there is only justified if we actually walk away when it's time to walk away.
Yeah.
If we go over there and we're going to be a bunch of, if all we're doing is swinging our big military dick around and just dick smacking Iran, and we're going to stay over there for another 70 fucking years, I disagree. I disavow Trump. Get your shit together. 100% disagree with that. But if it's the case that we actually do what he says he's going to do, which so far, where possible, he has. If we close out the war and he brings the troops home and he leaves the enforcement with the 7 or 8 Arab nations and Israel in the region that are supposedly going to take over the enforcement in the Middle East and the peacekeeping and all of that, if that actually happens, it's a brand new world, baby. It's a brand new world. It's a bold new world. And I agree with it, because I think that's the way it ought to have been all along. But we just, we're who we are.
If it works that way.
I mean, it's what they're saying, right? I mean, that's what and let's be frank, all indications are that's what he intends to do.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't really seen indications that he doesn't intend to follow through with taking care of Iran right now.
Well, we see more indications that he intends to, right? Like he's not building any new bases. He's not moving large mass numbers of troop into the region. He's not doing a lot of things that if he were planning on because let's just be frank here. They could I think Iran can maybe hold on another 3 months, 90 days before China starts bombing them, because China's going to run out of oil.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be that long. Maybe a week.
I mean, sure. I mean, I think that it's accelerated for sure, but I mean, Iran is going to, they've burnt all of the bridges. The bridges are burned. There's cinders, they're ash floating in the wind. So
this is going to sound kind of callous, but I kind of look at it like this, like the shit with Iran, right? So when I was growing up, I played a lot of video games with people, a lot of different all kinds of different video games, right? I liked playing shooters, but one theme I ran into a lot with in shooters was like me and the other guys, like we'd hang out and do LAN parties. There'd be like 10 of us online, and we're all military guys using military tactics to fucking absurdly just own everybody we got a hold of, right? We get a hold of these kids sometimes in these things, and you'd smack them down. You'd fucking kill them, right? And they die. They'd be done. They're out of the match. They come back into the match and keep talking shit.
Yeah.
And you'd smack them down again. And they'd come back and talk more shit. And you'd smack them down again. And their buddy would come in and talk. And so I see Iran kind of behaving that way. And I get that they have a handful of good people there, and I really hate that those handful are suffering for all the shitty people. But I think we just need to like figure out some way of figuring out the shitty people and just wipe them out and get it over with.
Well, let's look into that, because I would contend that even the Arab states, which is I remarked on this earlier, you may not have been in yet, but it's shocking to me. It's shocking to me that even Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, fucking Jordan, especially Jordan, and Egypt, and all of them have been really, really careful about staying away from actual civilian targets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surprising to me on a lot of levels, because let's just look at it. I mean, like, normally those countries would just like haphazardly send in everything, like rockets and missiles and bombs and all this shit.
Sure.
I think they've been doing a really good job of, and I think the reason for that is because of the what 70 or 80% of Iranian citizenry that that doesn't agree with the leadership that were protesting in the streets and was calling for new leadership and calling for this war exactly. And and I think that you know that apparently has held some sway up until now with how much damage has been done to just indiscriminate targets. Um, but as Cam and Anson both point out, and I think they're, while I disagree with them, I don't think they're inaccurate. Iran has been preparing for this kind of thing um, for a long time. However, um, I don't believe, Cam, I don't disagree with you that they are the most capable military in the region, but that's like saying you're the best sharpshooter in a place with like 1940s technology, right? Like that's not
Is he saying Iran or Israel?
Iran. Iran is the most capable military in the region. I disagree with that. I think Israel has the most capable military in the region. I think that those fuckers are just love them or hate them. They're just very very capable. And you just have to admit that it's better if you admit it, right?
I don't know. Look, Grid.
We
This
have the great Fabian Liberty in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Fabian.
cool.
I don't know if his computer's
Why
working.
do I not have a camera on?
You got to select the camera, brother. Down there where it says video, there's a little tab next to it. You select your camera.
Sometimes when you load up a tab with streaming or with Streamlabs, you have to actually restart the browser because it won't put that pop up on that lets you
Oh
accept
yeah, that's true.
it using your camera. So you might just have to restart the browser.
It says my camera is locked by another application.
Oh
like
yeah,
Zoom.
yeah. You've got to pick that app. You've got to pick like so if you're using like
I just
OBS,
ran
if you're using
OBS
you
virtual
have to use
cam.
OBS. So you need to use OBS's virtual camera feature.
That's what I did,
Yeah. so
Okay,
select the
and then
virtual-
selected that.
on OBS you have the start virtual camera running.
Yeah, it's working
Okay.
fine on OBS. It says it's in another application, except I don't have any other applications running. I'm not streaming or anything.
Oh, that's so
Let me
weird.
try again.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I was going to say I kind of disagree with you here because I see that like
hold on. I think Mullet Baby has a great point. It's like saying you were the best point guard in the women's NBA.
no, that's actually the point I was going to make. Yeah, that's good. It's good. He says it like that. That's a good analogy. I like it. But he's got a point though. That's kind of what I was going to point at. Like the United States is the only military in the world that actually has every single ship, every plane, every combat intelligence device that we've got there, every military warfighter that is in a vehicle are all on a network, and the entire system knows where everyone is at. That kind of level up in warfare puts you levels of magnitude above anyone else. I don't really care who's the most capable.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying as far as the world, I don't really care who's most capable. None of the other people in the world can do what our military can do.
Right. And Cam, I agree with you that we've lost what 5 aircraft now. But we literally we took out their entire Air Force, which was like 20 or 30 airplanes, which wasn't, I mean, admittedly, it's not much. We took out their entire Air Force in like 4 hours.
We had a couple of dummy kills, to be fair, and that's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, well, we had friendly fire incidents.
Yeah, that's a little embarrassing, honest. But
we had to blow up airplanes on the ground because of bad intelligence. That's
Well, and one of the planes was actually blown up because the ground itself was a little too moist. They couldn't get it off the ground when they were rescuing somebody, and so they blew that plane up to make sure the enemy couldn't get a hold of it.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
And there was
cool. I'm
one
fine with
flare.
that. I get it.
Yeah.
Save
No,
the guy's
I'm not
life.
saying
You
it
know,
was
I'm
the wrong
behind that.
thing to do. I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying people count that as like, oh, that's so bad. I'm like, we would have done the same thing if we had landed it in fucking Saudi Arabia. We'd have blown that shit.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the war stats, realistically, over the course of human warfare, we've actually got way less dummy kills and way less friendly fire in this battle than we've ever had in any other war in history.
See, this is the rhetoric I don't like. We're taking massive losses. We've
No.
lost what? We've actually only lost one or two soldiers to actual enemy fire.
Yeah, I'm saying of the few incidents we've had where like either planes have gotten hit or out of any of it, right?
Yeah.
Like we've only had a few friendly fire incidents, and
Yeah,
it's
right.
like it hasn't even fully cost what all of the pilots were recovered, aren't they? None of them died from any of it, did they?
Oh, none of our pilots did. No.
I didn't think so. I didn't remember
we've
hearing
lost-
about it.
I think we've had somebody in chat will correct me. I think we've lost like a sailor and a couple of army guys to various things. I think we've
Yeah.
I think we've had 3 casualties. Actually,
And there's been some injuries.
Yeah.
The point though was that like we've had extremely low friendly fire this fight, which means that we're
Well,
definitely
that's true.
selecting targets
Think about-
better.
think about Kuwait. I mean, Kuwait, we had an A-10, an A-10
Uh-huh.
that got an entire English column,
Yeah.
thinking it was Kuwaiti. Like,
Yeah.
that was bad. People don't remember. That was a long time ago. I remember that, but yeah.
And the first Iraq, there was a couple of pretty bad ones too that happened in there.
And look, Cam, I'm not saying that, it was it's not a flex to take out. I said they only had like 17 airplanes or some shit like that. They might have had more. I think they might have had 40 airplanes, but so
I don't know, but we got a carrier sitting off the coast to the west of them that just keeps sending planes over every time they touch down and refuel and get rearmed.
I think it's interesting because I don't know. It's very funny. No, I don't know. I can't. Cam, we lost 2 helicopters this year in just training. I mean, we lost 2 multi-million-dollar helicopters this year to pilot error crashing into people. Yeah, each other. I mean, $2 came in from Raging Patriot 1776er. I'll take this military over Biden's fairy faggots. Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I get you, Cam. I mean, I really do. I really get you. But we lost an AWACS plane that was on the ground, wasn't it? It was sitting on the ground and just got hit by a missile or something.
I didn't even hear about the AWACS. When was that?
Like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think he's back. And his camera's working.
There we go.
Cool.
Hey, you got a haircut.
I'm just not wearing headphones. I always cut my own hair, so.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Took some time off streaming. Focus on my health. Focus on other stuff in my life. How y'all doing?
How is your health?
A lot better.
Good. Good. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna do the debate con thing in Dallas. We're gonna do the grid party in Dallas.
When are y'all doing that?
End of June.
I feel like we just did the last one. How long ago was it?
November. 6 months ago, man.
Feels like a yearly thing. I don't know. It was bi-yearly. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I wasn't. So I was gonna go to DebateCon mainly because Speakeasy talked a lot of shit, and you shouldn't do that, right? Get your ass beat live by a fucking senior citizen, right?
That's funny.
Holy shit.
I turned 55 the other day, baby.
You're not a senior citizen, not quite.
That's dude. I want my. They keep moving my senior citizen discount, man.
Yeah, dude.
Now it's
Before you know it, it'll be like 72 or
yeah. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to go. It's going to be in Dallas. Admiral Gibbs is going to be there. We're going to have a bunch of people from Dallas area going to be there. Pentuple's going to be back, and it looks like it might even be a bigger event numbers wise than Nashville was. So
nice.
I didn't know if you might have some time off coming up and you want to come out and hang out with us again, because it was really cool to have you out there debating. Plus, you're like 8 feet tall, dude.
I'm not 8 feet tall.
We look 8 feet tall. I am an honest 55. I look 45. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, Kel, we were just talking about you. Hey, do you want a link? I'll let you jump up, Kel, if you want to come up. Yeah, we're just chilling tonight, man. And I saw you on, and I haven't seen you in like a while. Like you were
Saw me
supposed
on
to be
where?
on Primes. You were supposed to be on Primes, and then like you weren't. And I was like, him and Prime must have had some words.
No.
And then you weren't like, and then I haven't been on since then either. I think I really pissed him off. So
No, we didn't have any words or anything. I just have I had like a bunch of family stuff going on, and then I ended up getting sick, and I was like, dude, I'll be honest with you.
Time.
It's some of it was health related, some of it was family, personal stuff related. A lot of it is just I needed to break away. I need to break away from like constantly imbibing online politics.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's a grifter. Everybody's a lying sack of shit. I want to say like 99.9% of everybody that like is a politics streamer or creator.
Mm-hmm.
They're all full of shit. They all have different opinions than they had 6 months ago. And there was no epiphany other than their audience wanted it. It's like it was a constant like trying to keep up with like who died today, who was bombed today, what completely fucked up thing did the government do today. Right. And it was just like, man, I gotta get my mind right. I gotta step away for a little bit. I'm gonna fucking, you know what I mean? Like get my health right, give it a little break. I needed a little cushion because it was getting dark. Just watching
it get dark, man. It does. I take breaks all the time. And of course I have my family to keep me grounded.
What's all that noise? Holy shit. Tyler just joined us. Holy crap. Brian was right. When you see a 1, it really does ruin your day. What's up, Tyler?
Hello.
I'm just joking, bro.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, I'll get healthy. I'll lose some weight.
Yeah.
I'll take care of myself, take care of my family, get some distance where I'm not fucking on Twitter all day, every day, being, just imbibing this shit.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's also a little bit, I think I was a little disillusioned too, like, because I don't be a Debbie Downer or anything, right? But you know that feeling, that like teenage angst you have?
I mean, I remember it.
Right. I mean, obviously you don't have it right now, but I mean like that feeling that you get like where it's just like, oh, everybody's stupid. Nobody gets me. Right.
Right.
I started seeing that like in myself and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Like that's a regression of like who I am as a human being. Because it was just so much. Yeah. There was just so much where it was like, I don't know, like you'd talk to a lefty or a righty and like you'd have this great conversation. And then 2 weeks ago, it was very clear that one of two things occurred. Either their head is like a sieve of which all information magically passes through and is forgotten, or there's like an audience. And so it is their like job to preach to like, 105 to 85 IQ people, their talking points, and their talking points evolve. And it's just like, how is this anything different than like the male version of the Real Housewives of Atlanta? We're not doing anything.
I really get that. I've noticed that over the past like 2 or 3 months, and maybe it's just that I've been paying more attention to that sphere. The catty bitchy,
Yeah.
whiny ass streamers just seem to be especially bitchy and whiny ass. And it's interesting because I've been kind of I had to pull away because my mom back in December, my mom right like a couple of days before Christmas, she had a minor stroke, and she had a lot of problems with her with her mind, and kind of thought we had her settled. And then we got through January, got through February, uh, you know early March, she passed away because she had a massive stroke,
Mm.
and so I had to take care of all of that. Now I'm going through all of the probate and everything. She didn't leave a will, so it's just it's been going through all of that, and I've been very distracted with that. Plus, I've got a lot of stuff going on with my kids, and I mean, I know that my audience has noticed that I'm just not online as much at all.
Yeah.
And I try to um and I always try to look at things from the outside in anyway, right? Like I try and look at it from a couple of various angles. And while I still liked who I was like, why am I hanging out with this dipshit? Like this is dumb. Like seriously. And there were people that I found that I was really like making excuses to try and mend fences with people that there's just no point in mending fences with. And I was like,
Right. Well, it's like there's a difference between the game that you are playing as an entertainer and as a businessman within a business where networking and nepotism is essentially everything.
yeah,
Right. Like, and like, like the online politics world is 99% who you know and 1% the message. And the 1% that is the message is 50% of what gets you into the who you know, right? If you have the right message, then that gets you into the who you know. I was watching this thing, and it was what was it? Elon Musk's whore baby mama, fucking
which one?
Sinclair or whatever.
Ashley Sinclair.
Ashley, yeah. Like I watched her put this video, and then all the Republicans or all the conservative, like she put out this video, and it was just her explaining how all of the MAGA large, Twitter and YouTube accounts work, right? Which is that they're in group chats with the administration. They get their talking points. They, disseminate the bullshit talking points that have nothing to do with governance or philosophy or anything. They're just means by which to herd the cattle that is the typical American voter. And then there was all these people coming after her because, like, yeah, I get it. She's a fucking dumb hoe that, what direction she moves is whatever way the wind blows, right? So it's like it's easy to laugh on her. But I noticed something, which was not a single one of these people said she was wrong, said that anything she said was incorrect. Like they literally are just all fucking lying, grifting sacks of shit, mouthpieces for the Trump administration. And the left is exactly the same way for the DNC. And I was just like, dude,
isn't it weird?
This is a dirty fucking business. And I don't know that I want to hobnob with everybody. I'm like, maybe I just want to hang out with my own people, get some perspective, make some videos on philosophy, and just accept that, like, I'm not going to be on Piers Morgan every fucking week or whatever, because I don't suck fucking Trump's dick, and I don't fucking take money from the DNC, and like, that's okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say one of the most fucking heartbreaking things I experienced when I joined the online community was that everybody is basically fucking full of shit. Every single person is saying the talking points for the grift. Everything's about the grift.
Mm-hmm.
It's all fucking about, you cannot simultaneously be a good faith political pundit and somebody that also is giving your partisan views to the degree where, like, I don't know, it just takes over your entire channel. Like Josiah, when I first met Josiah, I thought he was great. Pisco, first person I did debate against was Pisco. I was a big Destiny fan when I came on here, and as soon as I started encountering these people and realizing it was all about public appearance, they didn't give a flying fuck about what they were preaching about. It was just heartbreaking. So
it's like you never want to see how the meat is made or the hot dogs are made.
Yeah,
right?
I saw the sausage. Yeah, the sausage.
Yeah, I saw how the sausage was made. That's the phrase. Like I saw how the sausage was made, and I was just like, "Oh, you're all disgusting."
Yeah,
all of you.
I think I think that like once you've dove in to whichever side it is that you're on the left and right side of things, so to speak, or whatever it is, right? And you've kind of engaged with people on the other side for a while, and you do it long enough, you get a certain numbness to certain arguments and certain things that people talk about over time. They stop affecting you as much. You stop caring as much. You got to take time off of shit like this, or else it'll just keep eating at you. You like you'll just feel numb inside if you don't get away from it for a while. You have to.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'll give you an example, right? Oh God, what is Hassan's waiting room? Not the dude, not the girl, Denham's, the other guy, the guy like Mike from PA, right? He's like, I posted something on Twitter, right? Mike from PA very rarely like interacts with me. But then I said something because I saw like one of these like e-girl prostitutes online like popped up on my feed. She's got like almost 1 million followers. And like this was just like a shower thought, right? Which was like she was like before and after, and like the before picture was 10 years ago. And it was her like in her room in like a baggy t-shirt with a bunch of weeb shit everywhere, right? Just kind of like looking awkwardly into the camera, right? And then the other one was like her with like pasties on her nipples and like, e-girl shit. And I was like, dude, as a dad, and like all I said was like, as a dad, this shit just hurts. Yeah. Like knowing that like that's what the world's incentives are for like my children, that I have to protect them from a degenerate world that like feeds the ego in the most unconstructive and most like psychologically deconstructive ways towards young women. And that I have a daughter, and that there are fucking perverts and creeps and simps and whole entire billion-dollar industries ready to pounce on her, as she grows, and algorithms that feed this before she's even anywhere near old enough to understand the concepts of any of these things. I didn't say all that. I just said, as a dad, this just hurts. And so she responded with like some weird shit like, you saw my tits and you thought of your kids, you're a creep or something, right? Like just, and then, and I was just like, whatever. And then Mike from PA jumps in. I'm like, where the fuck did this guy come from, right? And I'm like, oh, I have one tweet with a lot of views, so now all of a sudden we got to hop on this fucking thing. And then what he did is he said like something about like, he was like, you're an anarcho-objectivist. It was like, all you care about is, people dying from heroin legally and child markets. Now, if you're not an ANCAP, you might not know what he's talking about when he says like child markets. But it's an out of context quote from Rothbard. And it's like that specific argument of an out of context quote from Rothbard, where he's basically just describing how in a free market, there would be private adoption agencies that would be able to better handle, compared to like CPS, the distribution of children to people who actually want children, as opposed to people that are like,
hey, I'm pro Israel. You ain't got to explain out of context quotes to me, dog.
Yeah, I mean, fuck Israel, but Israel's just another state. But yeah, so like I said that, and it was just like, it's like, I know that he's made that argument a bunch of times. I know that people have explained why that's a bullshit argument a bunch of times, but it's not a real argument. It's a magical spell for his retard audience. Like, and that's what everything is. It's like, these are the words that like make my people, rile my people up as an attack against others, and make me feel morally superior within this like group. And like the truth, the veracity of the claim is irrelevant to the game of entertainment as we herd monkeys into a fucking, into a chaotic mess. And like, that's just everyone. No offense to anybody, but it's like, that's Andrew Wilson, right? He's not out there talking deep philosophy. Occasionally he gets into it on podcasts, right? But he's an entertainer. Sure. So he's drumming up his audience with magic spells. He never takes a positive argument. It's like, this isn't like I'm trying to shit on Andrew Wilson. I'm just saying this is the right two. This is the trad cats. This is the trad cons. This is the ortho. They're all like that because that's just the nature of the game. And I was like, dude, I got to step away from the game for a little while, get some perspective, and see like how I can actually be positive, like make some philosophy videos, do some interviews, and just like step away from this constant need to like hop on a panel and talk about the current thing the internet's talking about or the current drama for like, so that I can what? So I can get $50 more in super chats? Like, is it really worth it? I don't think it is. I don't think it's helping anybody.
I mean, I get you, man. I get you. And actually, I've been on and off the internet since the beginning of the year because of all of this other stuff going on in my, just all the shit going on in my life, and it's actually given me a little bit because I'm on the other side from where you are. I don't. I am who I am, and I'm not going to change for any fucking body. And if you don't like it, if you don't like it, I don't honestly give a fuck. But what I did find was happening was there's this. You start caring about shit that doesn't matter, and then for me anyway, I was like, none of this shit matters to me, and so I just quit. I just quit caring about it. To be honest with you, I just was like, I don't care. You can say whatever you want to about me. You can say, that I'm full of shit. You can say whatever. It doesn't. None of that shit matters to me. I am exactly the person I am, as you know, because you've met me. I'm the exact same person in real life that I am on this screen, and I have often operated with the assumption that most people are like that, but the more like I went to TwitchCon and I know that motherfuckers are not like that. I went to, I've been out, I've talked to people, and I know that a lot of these people are not really what they say they are.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people are. I almost think some of those people are more psychologically healthy. And I'll tell you, and here's what I mean by that, is that like, there's a cult of personality with streaming and content creation. And if you ever looked at cults, like what is the downfall of almost every cult, right? Is that the cult leader starts believing their own bullshit. Yeah. Starts really getting like, I mean, obviously it's a narcissist usually leading it. The female cults tend to be the ones that tend to be successful. Right? It's the male cult. And you start believing your own bullshit. And like, I think often there's like a lack of conversation around the subtle ways in which the audience really manipulates you. I mean, I know there's audience capture. We talk about it a little bit, right? But I think it's more than that. I think if you don't step away sometimes, you think you're being real to yourself, but you kind of lose yourself in the daily grind of putting on a character for an audience. Even if the character is a projection of yourself, it's still a projection of your idealized self. It's not really the true you, right? Like you might be vulnerable, but you're vulnerable by happenstance with an awareness that people are watching, right? Kind of like the Japanese, there are three masks kind of scenario. Yeah. So it's like you project an idealized characterization of yourself, even if you're being real with yourself. And what ends up happening is that feedback from the audience tells you how that character ought be. And then the idealized version that you identify with begins to change. And I think it's like so important to just step away every now and then for like a month or so and be like, whoa. Am I really like that? Or is that just like the daily grind kind of wore me down to do that because that's what people like?
Yeah, to some degree. Hey, let me show you this video. This is cool. This is me from last weekend in Texas.
That looks like fucking fun automatically.
Make ready.
Automatically looks fun.
Yeah, dude. I knew exactly this was going to be.
Oh, ready? This is slugs. This is me keeping it real, baby. This is an all slug and pistol.
Stand by.
One for one.
Those burns always sketch me out.
The drones?
No, like those like
The clay
dirt burns, like where you're shooting very close to yourself towards the ground.
Hello, Miss D. Good to see you. Audio's coming from my hat and the drone, and so all the
The drone, yeah, you can hear the drone whining.
yeah. That's it. That's all of it.
Dude, that looks fun as shit, dude.
Right?
I
That's how you keep
I like
it
that you
real.
got them together now.
That was pretty cool, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah. I'm learning film editing as I go along.
You're doing good. That was a good stitch, man. That worked great.
So I had 3 cameras on. I had a hat cam, a chest rig, and the drone. So, but I only put the 2 together for that. But that came out pretty good, and so that was what I did last weekend, and that's what I was supposed to be doing it tomorrow. But tomorrow, instead of me shooting, my son is shooting another. He has day 2 of his trap competition for school. So, I think you're right. The thing is, what I find, and this is going to sound probably a little mean, but what I find is that the people who basically live their lives online through their streaming and watching other streamers, interacting with other streamers, and then they go to work and work online with, or work remotely or whatever. It seems like those people are even more susceptible to what you're talking about, and they don't really ever get away from their computer. And even when they get away from their computer, they're thinking about being in front of their computer. And for me, I like just turn that shit off and, don't care at all. But I can see where it's a real problem. And I think that it's we have, and again, we have such an we have such an information overload, right? Like just so much.
I mean, do we have an information overload? I don't know that it's. I think that I know what you mean. Maybe,
Yeah.
right?
I think we have a clutter overload.
I don't think it's clutter. I don't think it's information. What I think it is it's disconnected from what we evolved as a species to be. Like I was watching this video of like like not necessarily found footage video, but like older videos where like the first webcams, like the over the shoulder cameras, video footage of like, kids that had like a super expensive like VHS recording thing or whatever over their shoulder going into high school. And like what the first thing you notice is people are not as fat as they used to be. The second thing you notice is that everybody looks happy, but that's mostly because a camera is a novelty, right? And so they, it's not like today where we're used to being on camera. So we're not like we're less likely to play a character and we're less likely to be excited by it. But then the third thing you notice is that there is a different information that's being shared, which is human connection. Like you go into a cafeteria, and everybody is having social interaction of some kind. Maybe they're establishing a hierarchy. Maybe, there's different cliques or whatever. There's a lot of different things at play, but the things at play, the information is social information. And what we have now is like a simulacrum of what we once had, which is, I don't know that it's necessarily information overload or TikTok brain or any of that stuff, because
it's clutter. I think it's like, noise.
It's like there was just as much information, just as much engagement 100 years ago as there is now. Maybe not 200 or 300 years ago in a small village or something where there's a lot more mundanity, but it's like there's everything is disconnected. there's no meaning or purpose. Like you said, it's clutter in the sense that you gain all this information, but it's not contextual information, right? Like Newt Gingrich makes local politics federal politics, right? And then, and like it's like that, but with the online social kind of like thing where every Gen Z person and millennial, to be honest, right, has all the opinions that they're supposed to have for their own in-group, whatever that in-group may be. And then they're researching the opinions they're supposed to have passively through algorithms and online media and entertainment. And like, they're just not fucking talking to humans. Like there is no human connection. I feel like live streaming and long form podcasts was like an attempt to get closer to something we had lost, but it's still like paltry in the way that you describe it, right?
Yeah.
You don't lose yourself because you step away and go have a real human interaction with your children, with your wife, with your community, with the things that are of an interest to you. Whereas the online people, they're still connected to people. They're still connected to a community. But the community is a facade because the stakes are both higher and lower, right? The stakes are you're infinitely more vulnerable to the pressure of being correct in the group thing. But you're also infinitely less vulnerable because none of the connections are actually real. It's like that friend that always flakes out when you make plans, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that to the extreme in the sense that, well, this isn't a real relationship. So at any moment I could just block you on Twitter or kick you out of my Discord or kick you from my chat. And so you end up curating this, this hyper echo chamber. I think is a goofy word, but instead like a collective consciousness that is, reinforcing its own psychosis instead of that push and pull that you get with a real human. Like when you have a wife and you do something kind of wrong, you can't just block her and move on to the next wife, right? You know what I mean? Like you have to have this push and pull. You have to look at yourself and go, you have to be actually vulnerable, not this pseudo sense of vulnerability where you're just open about yourself in the ways that you're protected because you're within the same collective consciousness where it's deemed okay to share. It's like I'm actually exposing the ways in which I disagree with you. And then we have to work out how we're going to figure out that disagreement.
So I agree with all of that. I think that there's one piece still missing, and that is that as you alluded to, you can always make new friends. There's always another crowd that you can get into and all of that. So you don't really necessarily bind yourself to one group of people. And so the sense of accountability is far less. The need to be genuine isn't even there.
Right.
But at the same time,
the need to be genuine is actually 20 times more powerful than it was, but it's not actually being genuine, right? It's a pseudo genuine. It's like
it's not being fulfilled like it used to, for sure.
Right. Like men used to carry this weight of never exposing their vulnerabilities except to their closest friends. Now we live in a society where men are expected to always be vulnerable and always be open. And like the healthiest form of behavior is to tell everybody all your fucked upness. But the thing is that like everything else, like with everything else online, going back to that 3 masks, kind of like analogy, you're not truly being vulnerable. Instead, what you're doing is you're crafting a story of vulnerability to an audience and then curating that audience around this shared collective consciousness without actually being vulnerable because there are no real stakes in the vulnerability. There's no, my roommate will leave, my girlfriend will leave me. There's no real, genuine, real life stakes to it. You can just like a narcissist that hops from one social group to the other. We're all kind of trained to be that way.
Yeah, it's life without consequences, essentially.
Right. Well, I mean, the consequences are there. They're just different.
Yeah, it's like playing The Sims. And if you really fuck it all up, you just go make a new account.
Right. But also you're left with something also very similar to narcissism, which is like narcissistic supply, which is this void, because that online connection never actually fills that void. So there's this eternal sense of longing and belonging as you hop from social group to social group to space to space.
Yeah, let me see. I think this is the video. I saw a video talking about
I
this
just
very
looked
thing
at
the
the
other
chat.
day.
I was like, oh, I wonder what chat thinks. And I just see dude on the right just farted.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how deep they are tonight. That's where it is.
You know, I gotta say, Fabian, I don't know if you've actually already done some looking into this or not, but it sounds like right now you're reaching a certain point where some people reach in their argumentative career, in their career to being an influencer, whatnot, whatever they're doing. You know, whether you're a debater, a conversation haver, or whatnot, right? Like everybody eventually hits a point where they start seeing there's something else behind the picture. Like, yeah, there's a left wing and there's a right wing and there's a head at the front of that controls it, but we don't ever see the head. We see the left wing and the right wing. We see the
Brother,
body. We see the feet. Like, and at some point, if you dive too deep into that, like you will lose yourself in it, man.
Yeah, I mean, two things.
It's horrible.
You know, stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss stares back. But
same concept,
secondly, I'm an anarcho-objectivist, brother. I'm way past
that. You were one of those. That's a new one for me. I thought you were something else entirely. I want to see what Jimmy says about this.
What do I think of Manosphere? What, the Louis Theroux documentary? Well, I think it's very good that he made that. I think it's very interesting that they're mainstreaming that argument, because you go, well, those guys are talking to young men. I don't like what they're saying to young men, but I like the fact that they're talking to young men. You have to respect there is some the intent there. The content's terrible, but the intent of talking to young men that are lost is valuable. But we just need better voices talking to young men. We can't marginalize them. Well, I think there's a lot of talk about toxic masculinity, and no one talks about the positives. You could be a king, or you could be a tyrant. You could be a warrior, or you could be a sadist. You could be an agent of magical transformation, or you could be a manipulator. You could be a lover, or you could be an addict. There's a positive side to masculinity, and we're not talking about that. We need to empower young men. I'm pro-gang, pro-drinking, pro-gambling. Let me talk you round. Okay, let me talk you around. Okay, it sounds like, okay, gangs are really fucking good ideas. They get some bad press because some of them do shoot people and deal drugs. But what I mean by a gang is, where should all men be? I'll tell you, all men should be with other men. Men check other men. Guys keep other guys in line. Right? It's good. You should be, like, before, we want young men and women to get together, right? We want them to get together. Well, you can't start with a relationship. You've got to start with a friendship. Young men, you can practice on your friends, it's not gay. Drinking. I think drinking is essential because the risk to your liver is as nothing compared to the risk of social isolation. I've set up, well, that's Scott Galloway, brilliant Scott Galloway's line. I've set up a series of youth clubs all around the nation. They've got pool tables, they've got darts, they've got jukeboxes. They serve drinks. They're called pubs. They've been proven to work for men's mental health for the last 200 years. And I think we should open the doors to 16-year-olds. I think we should let 16-year-olds drink in pubs. My only proviso is not on their own. I think groups of 4. You should be able to be served if you can get 3 mates together, and then men check other men. I don't want them sat at home on their PlayStation. I don't want them drinking in the park. I want them with other men in a space where there's grown-ups around, and that's how you learn. That's what a society is. It's a good idea. And gambling, I'm very pro-gambling, but not this low-stakes bullshit, sports betting and casinos. Tell me what you want to do with your life. Tell me what you're willing to sacrifice, and then bet your life on yourself. That's a gamble, right? Every man takes a performance-enhancing drug every day. It's called testosterone, right? There's more male CEOs. Yeah, of course there is. There's also more men in prison. What do they have in common? They took a crazy fucking risk. Sometimes you end up on a yacht, sometimes in D-Wing. Anyway, that's what I think about the manosphere.
Yeah, I'll say I 90% agree with him. I mean, I think some of it is tongue in cheek. He's a comedian, obviously.
Sure.
I love Jimmy Carr. I'm disappointed that it was a 3-minute clap and I never heard, or clip, and I never heard.
No, right?
I saw him live.
That reverse laugh. That reverse laugh is legendary, man.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think I have my own thoughts about most of these men in the quote unquote manosphere. I think the manosphere being the largest kind of group of men talking about men's issues. And I kind of view them the same way that I view communists, right? Which is that both of them are people that are suffering, that are trying to discover the source of their pain. And because of that pain, they go on some form of journey to try and figure out where's the source? Where is this coming from? And they put in work to understand that. And I also think, just like communists, most of the manosphere have
fuck commies.
Misdiagnosed the source of their pain to a certain degree. And because and then completely and utterly fucked up their prescriptions on how to fix it, because it comes from a place of pain as opposed to a place of integrated masculinity and of rational, reasonable thought. And so I think they're two sides of the same coin, right? I mean, it is, you look at your typical, also obviously a lot of them are just grifters, right? They're just doing whatever. They're doing that same thing we were talking about earlier with that audience kind of feedback loop, right? But I mean, if you set that aspect of it to the side and you treat them in as good faith a way as possible, what you see is that they're talking about things, like Jimmy Carr said, that no one else is recognizing. And even if you try and bring up those sources of pain, then you are attacked from both angles. You're attacked from the cucked boomer con generation of right-wing men that just tell you to shut up and buckle up. And it's like, yeah, that might have been cool when you could buy a fucking house on 2-year 2-year salary of a non-college educated factory job asshole. But the typical fucking median house is now a 2-income household of 6 years of salary. It's an impossible, we live in a different world, right? And so
we really let that get out of control, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And then the other half of that is the left wing, neoliberal and liberal and feminist kind of coalition of enlightenment values subverted by subverted but also undergirded by leftist philosophy versus just full-blown leftists, right? That coalition of the left wing that just attacks you for daring to be the perceived oppressor in some way and daring to talk about your oppression. But I think the problem is that much like it's many of the white supremacist things, right? When it wasn't too long ago that it was completely taboo to even say statistics that were just true, right? Like 5 or 6 years ago, just saying, yeah, black people make up less than 13% of the population. They commit over 50% of the crime and over 65% of the violent crime. Just that alone was you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a piece of shit, you're a horrible fucking monster. There'll be no conversation. So what happens is that saying things like that, which are true statements, become associated with only one group of people. And that group of people are the only people that are willing to speak the truth, which are white supremacists and Nazis and, whatever, right?
But
They're the
whose
only people
truth?
that are willing to say truths. They're mixed in with a lot of other lies, right?
Well, that's kind of the thing, though, is like, whose truths, though? Because
I mean, that's just the truth. There is no one owns the truth. Truth, something is just true because it's true.
Well, that's what a lot of us believe, right? A lot of us believe in data and facts, and that, like, there are things that are true in the world that we can look at and say, yeah, no, that's true. But then you get online, you start having some of these conversations, you start realizing that, like, a lot of these younger people right now, there's no foundation to their belief structure. So there's nothing true as a baseline for their belief structure. It's all a big circle of information flood brainwashing. That's all it is. It's just Google being in control of what data they give you back in your search results in the background around the answer you really want, them making money off of you, keeping you in the loop, continuing to search for shit so they can keep on brainwashing you with the background data they're feeding you, and at the same time sucking money out of you. They keep you in this metric. They know what they're doing. They understand what they're doing. The thing is, a lot of people understand this concept, and this is why I don't feel bad for stupid people. All right, I'm going to explain it right here. When I have a conversation with someone, I ask them something very simple, like, do you believe that to some extent either the government or somebody that's controlling the government is in control of the people? Most people on the entire planet would say yes, right? When you try to show them data, they will fucking burn you alive as if they've been programmed to.
Yeah, well, so you bring up an interesting point, right? Which is where is that vitriolic response coming from?
Right.
And I'll tell you exactly what it is.
They believe,
No, it's not about belief.
I get it.
It's about identity. See, because here's the thing. When we've lost an honor culture, right? Up until we'll say the early 1900s, right? We had an honor culture, which was, you were based upon the values that you displayed to your community, and those value and how you lived up to shared values, right? So Tom is an honest man. That's how you were seen.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, with the moving into the cities, with the increase in population, with the increases in the division of labor, with the increase with the government taking the role of values, right? The government owns values now. We used to own values. And what I mean by that is when Social Security comes along, when Medicare comes along, when TANF comes along, they're no longer, my local community knows that Tom's having a hard time, so we pitched in to help Tom, and now Tom's going to get back on his feet because we value Tom. We know that Tom's a good, honest man, right? And because of that, Tom got hurt at the factory, so we're all going to pitch in. The wives came over and, they made some fucking casseroles or whatever, right? Because Tom's a good man. So because we value Tom, we are okay. It's not a sacrifice to give some of what we have to help him, because there's a reciprocity within a connected community. Our values are displayed in helping them. The government took over our values. The government said single women need help. The government said disabled people need help. And so there's no Tom's a good guy, so I help Tom. Instead, it's this person was injured, therefore the government writes them a check. And sometimes
the government
that
didn't
person's
take
lying.
It over. They didn't take it over. They took over the reward and punishment system. That's what they did. And when you control the rewards and no, they did. They took over the reward and punishment system. What I mean by that is the programs that you just pointed out: welfare, free childcare for single moms. All these things that they're doing. Right? That's a reward for people having certain behaviors that typically in societies you try to elevate people out of, or shun people who are just choosing to behave that way, right? You're like, all right, well, look, if you're not going to behave like the rest of society, get the fuck out. Or if you're trying, but you need a leg up, let's give you a leg up. But guess what? We're not doing that because we don't, like you said, we don't have that value. That value isn't there because we no longer have a reward structure that rewards that. We as people can't be in communities and reward each other personally
They
anymore.
take the money out of our paycheck, and then they take over the reward system. So the incentivization towards community is gone. But
and as soon as the tax thing happened, that's when this happened. As soon as the IRS came around and we started getting forced into paying for these things, that's when this happened. Anyhow, continue.
So to land this plane, once the values are, or you can say the incentive structure towards the expression of the values, either way, right? Once those are subsumed and taken away from us, how do we view people? Well, we typically view people based upon categories that describe them that are collective and no longer individual, right? So now the individual is no longer what is important. It's not Tom is an honest man. It's Tom is a Catholic. Tom is a doctor. Okay, so it's like when people ask you, oh, who are you? One of the first things you do is you tell them what you do for a living. But that didn't necessarily used to be that important. I mean, it is part of your identity, right? But now it is the main part of your identity. It's what you do, where it's what you do for work, where you went to school. It's your associationships within collective groups, right? And the association off of what you do as a labor kind of tells you a little bit about your value as a person, right? You went to school, you went this. So here's the thing. Once those values are gone and we move away from an honor culture, what ends up occurring is that those collective groups become a sense of identity, right? You see this in identity politics, obvious. That's like super obvious, right? But it's more than that. You start to define yourself by collective associations. I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, right? What the fuck does that mean? I've never met a Republican or a Democrat that agrees with the DNC or RNC party platform 100%. And I've certainly never met one that agrees with any fucking politician 100%. But yet they take this collective identity. And then what ends up happening is once you have a collective identity instead of an individuated identity that is separated from everybody else, when I start making arguments that go into the domain of politics, what I'm actually doing, if I'm proving your politics wrong, is I'm no longer attacking an argument that you have. I'm attacking you as a person. And that if I prove that belief that you are a shared collective of, then you lose a part of your identity. If I say Republicans are wrong on this talking point, let me prove that talking point wrong with this data. It's no longer, oh, interesting. I never thought of it that way. I'd love to learn more about that. It's you're attacking me and my shared belief system and the people that are like me. And now instantly we get a friend-enemy distinction. You're the other enemy that is attacking my identity. Because if I give up on that argument, I have to give up on a part of myself. I actually have to go and say, maybe I'm not a Republican. Maybe I don't agree with these ideas. Maybe I'm not a part of this collective.
Yeah, I think it's a cultural difference now, though, because, and I liken this all the time to religion, right? Like, I'm a Baptist. That doesn't mean that I hate Orthodox, and it doesn't mean that I dislike Catholic. It just means that they see something a different way. They're welcome to argue their points with me, and they can make great arguments, but that doesn't change my core belief, right? And I think,
right. I mean, it's obviously I'm making a general statement about why people, especially weak-willed people, feel personally attacked almost when you make an argument that isn't about them. It's because it's tied to their identity.
Something I think that's really important, and that's even smart people. If you were, for example, to try and talk to Pisco or Hassan about why they look at Trump, and when confronted with that Trump did the same thing that Biden did, or did it, in the same exact way, it's okay for Biden to have done it, but not Trump to have done it, and they won't move off of that. And when if you give them facts, what they'll do is they'll say, well, it's different, but they'll never define clearly how it's different. They will just maintain that it's different, and because it's different, it's okay. And they're smart enough and articulate enough to make
Find a meaningless difference.
Yeah.
find a
Generally,
meaning.
sometimes they find some stupid, obscure difference that they never
Yes.
brought up prior to you bringing up the
Correct.
whataboutism.
And so
point.
what
Yeah.
happens is once someone like Hassan or Pisco or Destiny comes up with that difference, that then becomes the rallying point that
Mhm.
whenever that argument is used, this becomes the automatic reply, which you were alluding to earlier tonight. And I
Mhm.
think that it's such a circular thing that while I agree with you more than you know, at the same time, I'm like, I don't care about it, because if you are that, first of all, if you're that weak in your arguments or your positioning, you kind of you kind of deserve, you either deserve to take your lumps, or it's okay, just go out and use the canned arguments from your local action hero and be cool, and it's fine. I just that's it's worked for centuries, it'll continue to work.
But
No problem.
I have a question for you.
Sure, man.
Right? I
I like
hear
that.
this a lot. I hear this a lot, and maybe it's ego driven,
Mhm.
right? But like, I hear this argument a lot. I've heard it from Cleaner. I've heard it from you as well, right? This kind of like, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying descriptively, but if I look at the world historically, we learn about all of these great men through history.
Mhm.
But we often forget that there were millions of fucking rice farmers,
Sure.
right? And the Enlightenment brought about this contradiction of democracy, right? Because of all of the problems of aristocracy and monarchy and nobility,
Sure.
right?
Mhm.
And I think I think sometimes maybe you're you're not black pilled enough to actually reach a like an almost
Well, I'm not black pilled.
nihilistic sense of security,
Right.
which is that most people are just retarded sheep. But like, I don't
I was about
hate
to say
sheep
that.
for being sheep,
No,
right?
no, I agree with you. I that's not black pilled. That's just reality. Look, here's the thing. Most people are neither capable nor motivated to do anything that resembles even remotely leadership.
Mhm.
That's why we had class systems throughout history. It
Right.
wasn't because people were being oppressed. It wasn't because people were being held under the thumb of some maniacal, evil ruler. It was because sometimes people just want to be rice farmers and have no other ambition in life. And they absolutely give zero fucks for philosophy, and making them give zero. And this is actually, I think, the travesty of our modern education system is why, if someone just is never going to care about Aristotle, why teach them Aristotle and make
I
them
think
pissed about it?
so.
Let them learn the things that are important. I think the Japanese and the Chinese actually do a better job with their education system than the Western world does, because they simply acknowledge that there are some things that unless someone wants to learn it, they're not going to learn it, and they're not going to learn it well. And we,
I think this is a clash. I think this is actually a clash between democracy
Mhm.
and education.
Legalism. Okay,
Okay, and so what I think it's the
that's
real
fair.
problem
That's a
here
fair observation. I think you're
is
right.
that we had this contradiction, right? Which is that everyone's opinion matters,
Mhm.
and that is just historically and obviously
False.
just not true,
Right.
right? Like my opinion on the construction of, you know, novel chemicals to create pharmaceuticals is essentially meaningless,
Sure.
right? Like I have some level of knowledge, like, you know, I was a medic, right? Like I took some Milvax. I have some level of knowledge, right? But like beyond the difference of knowing that there's like, you know, we use eggs because it's gamma negative. And if you asked me to tell you what gamma negative meant, I'd be like, oh no, that's some shit they made me memorize. Like, I don't fucking know what I'm talking about in that domain. Right. And so it's like, even the best and the brightest amongst us are absolute fucking retards on 99% of things that occur in the world. Right. Like, I'm pretty fucking knowledgeable on political philosophy. I'm pretty fucking knowledgeable on psychology and sociology. That's what I have formal education in. It's what I have practical experience in. But if you ask me any number of other things, I feel like I'm a pretty fucking smart guy. Actually, I know statistically exactly how smart I am, but like, I hate that concept. Like, my IQ is this, whatever. I'm not getting into that. But even still, I'm like retarded on everything else. Right? Like, in terms of blue collar work, brother, I did some cabinetry and countertops with my dad and worked in a mill for a little while, and that's the extent of it. In terms of working on my car, everything I know about working on cars has just been from being poor and having to fix shit myself. Was never interested in it. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how the internal combustion engine works. I just know that, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right? I know that word, right? Like, I understand that, like, explosions cause expansion, which move pistons. And then, like, that's about it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that if, like, your electrical shit isn't working, I don't know, replace the coil pack. I don't know what the fucking coil pack does. I just know it has to deal with electrical shit. Like, I don't know most of the things in the world.
Yeah.
And so we have this system of democracy where we are constantly teaching this lie that, like, the average person's opinion on foreign politics and global economics and, the regulation of the healthcare industry are meaningful things. And so we then craft this education system with two roles in mind. The first being the Prussian model of education, which is to create more effective factory workers, right?
Obedient.
And then the second, right, sure. And then the second is based upon this philosophy of democracy, which is self-contradictory and is taught through a leftist lens in pedagogy and to teachers in college, that everyone is this special person and that everyone's voice matters and that every individual is this unique snowflake that could become an astronaut. And then we give them this education that's supposed to hit on all things worldly with no real philosophy behind it. So of course, it then becomes corrupted by institutions of power that desire to just teach people the things as they grow up that they're supposed to believe, as opposed to the rational thinking and proper philosophy that allows them to become genius in one domain. Instead of teaching them a basis of how to accrue new knowledge, we teach them the facts and figures that fit the allowable narratives within the Overton window that we then force feed to children until they go to college, to where we can then force feed them even more destructive ideology than democracy. And then we wonder why everyone has an opinion on everything and all of their opinions are retarded. They were made that way.
Okay, fair enough, Scott. But let's. I think you're over. I think you're giving the education system too much credit. I think that just as much damage is being done by popular culture. It's being done by, especially in modernity.
Yeah, it's not univariate. I agree.
Yeah, I think that when what I saw, even when I was in college, was you had people that actually went to school and wanted to learn and wanted to get things done, and they were driven to go get a job, well, for whatever reason, right? To get a better job, to please their parents, to please themselves, what the fuck ever. They were motivated. They got in, they got out, they got done. But then you have the people who linger in college because it's part of the culture, and they're not actually learning anything in college. They're learning from their friends to be waste of human lives, a drag upon society, and a pox upon their
Hox populi, if you will.
Yeah, right.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, though. Grit is like like what you're pointing out, we're not following the Prussian model anymore. All right, the Prussian model was a tool utilized to convince the backers to believe in someone's cause,
Yeah, it's
but
just a
once it
foundation.
went far enough, they separated it out. It's kind of like it's like how feminism did, right? Feminism started and it was like rah rah, I hate men, rah rah rah, right? And then it goes, okay, well we just want free love, and then okay, well we want to say sexuality is all right, and then all right, we want to say this is okay. These all everything that came after the original ideology were waygates to get people to get indoctrinated into the system based off the times, right? So, like right now, they're using girls saying, we just want equality because that sounds great to girls, right? Everyone should be equal. An emotional girl's going to believe
I'm for that
in a
thing.
heartbeat. I'm just saying, like, they'll believe that shit in a heartbeat, but we're not stupid. We all know we're not equal. I mean, some of us are fatter, some of us are taller, some of us are stronger. We're not stupid, but this is what they get them to believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking two things here at the same time, though. And Fabian, you pointed out with democracy, right? It creates this illusion that everybody can be special. The other thing it does, though, is it takes the people who are truly doing something special and it pulls the pedestal out from under them. So society no longer has heroes to look up to. All of 100%. Our heroes are constantly being destroyed around us.
Well, no, all of our heroes have to be government. The government has to be the hero. The government has to be the one who writes a check. The government has to be the one that saves your life. The government has to be the one that provides you with health care. The government has to do all of it.
That's because the private markets were insufficient.
The entity itself of the government, yeah.
Words. Those are fighting words.
I love the bait that you threw me, but no, I think
the thing is, it is a system, and Fabian's pointing out a really good point. Is like it's been going on a long time. There's a lot of things that are affecting our society right now. We've let it get way out of control. We haven't taken care of the areas that we know. The CIA did programs during MK Ultra on different towns in America, different psychedelics, different brainwashing tactics. We know all this shit. It's released now. They're doing it right now. They're literally doing this shit on the internet to people all over the world. People can look and see it, and yet they're like, no, that's not happening.
One of my favorite classes in college was experimental psychology, where we literally just would do random shit. Like a psychological test would just be like putting a closed sign on the men's bathroom door to see how many men would actually go use the ladies' restroom. And or any number of little things like that. Like anything can be a psychological experiment, and you just wouldn't know because those are just things you do in life, and they just rack it up. They just sit there and say, okay, we had 10 dudes pick to go to the girls' room or to the ladies' room, and 10 dudes just ripped the sign off the door and walked inside and used it anyway, right? Like it's just that was one of the most fascinating things that I had.
Well, conformity is a pseudo virtue, right? It's like they say the thing, whether or not they do the thing. But I want to point out something, right? Sure. And I'm not necessarily saying, Cleaner, that I disagree with what you said in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
But maybe like add an important distinction, right? Because I think so often we talk about feminism, we talk about leftism, we talk about and not enough we don't talk about the evil ideologies of the right, things like conservatism as its place in the Republican Party, or Zionism. We're finally talking about that, and we're doing so in such a horrifically stupid way. But what I want to point out is that it's not, we often like anthropomorphize is not the right word here, right? Because obviously we're talking about, giving a human a caricature of an animal so that it becomes like a human. But we do something similar with ideology, right? Which is like the feminists say this, the feminists say that, the feminists say this, right? Jordan Peterson used to love this quote, which was, from Carl Jung, which is people don't have ideas, ideas have people. And I think that touches on something, to expand upon that, which is that it's not that there are gatekeepers. It's not that there are these people or that these people that are like, subverting because they have this grand plan. To borrow from Marx, I would say it's a poverty of philosophy that allows people to not be able to see the end conclusion of the philosophy itself, which is that the basic premises of feminism never changed. They were basic. There was the same exact argument. It's just the talking points changed because the talking points are what are palatable to the logical conclusion. It's the logical conclusion of feminism isn't. And so I just want to bring up a quote because, you know, you hear arguments like this and it's like people forget how long these same arguments have been happening. So I just wanted to bring up a quote from Frederick Bastiat's 1850 essay, The Law, right? It's one of my favorite quotes from him. He says, socialism, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, confuses the distinction between government and society. As a result of this, every time we object to a thing being done by the government, the socialists conclude that we object to its being done at all. We disapprove of state education, then the socialist says that we are opposed to any education. We object to a state religion, then the socialists say that we want no religion at all. We object to a state enforced equality, then they say that we are against equality, and so on and so on. It is as if the socialists were to accuse us of not wanting persons to eat because we do not want the state to raise grain. And it's like, that's an argument from 200 years ago, and we're having the exact same argument today. And the reason we're having the exact same argument 200 years later, and as he says, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, is because what we're really arguing against is that we are having political and policy arguments about philosophy. And that it will be the death knell of Western society, is if we do not understand that this is a philosophical war and not a political war and not a war around elections or policy.
Well, it's not even our war. That's the thing is like, by and large, most people on the planet, it's not their war. They just want to go to work, earn a wage, make sure their family's got a place to live, eat, breathe. They can survive themselves. They can enjoy life a little bit. You know what I mean?
Material conditions.
You think that's commie? I'm about to jump in here next.
I kind of
because
please do. I'm just
you hurry up because
I'm saying
vacation. I'm just chilling. I'm just sharing.
The reason why this has been going on for 200 years is because
we don't put our leaders in the arena to fist fight for themselves.
No, because
it is. It is.
No, it's because
it is. No, it's because we don't make our leaders fist fight each other. No, that literally, if we made our leaders fist fight each other, we'd all be under one government. We'd all be agreeing on something. We'd probably be out in space exploring fucking planets.
Hey man, wasn't one of the big things that like led to the breakdown of communication that eventually led to the American Civil War, the caning of Charles Sumner? What don't we have historical proof of when our leaders start beating the shit out of each other? We then end up just in Civil
Andrew
War.
Jackson shot a man on the White House lawn. That was pretty rare.
That was a duel, and that was a fair fight.
It was
Andrew Jackson was just a badass. He was a piece of shit, but a badass.
He took a bullet and still took the guy down.
And then partied afterwards. Partied after that. Threw a fucking party with a bullet wound. Got it pulled out, stitched up, and then threw a fucking banquet with hookers at it. Andrew Jackson was an insanely psycho badass man, but also a fucking monster.
Like a choir boy.
Yeah, he was a monster.
The thing is like we invented this social construction of politics. We invented this social construction of government. We as a collective humanity, us human beings, allow this to continue. Us human beings allow people up at the top to continue to control things. If we don't like dying for their stupid fucking cause, we need to just stop.
Honestly, though, the reason why that argument, though, has been going on for 200 years, this is the point I was trying to make earlier. The reason why that's been going on for 200 years is because in that 200 years, the socialist people that you're calling them have been correct. There has been a void in people that need to eat versus the food that's being provided for them. Communities only work for the community that you're in. Churches only work for the people that go to those churches. There are people that fall between the cracks, massive amounts of them. And the government stepped up to ensure that those cracks were few and far between. So in a way, if you are preventing government from doing this all out of a principle, you are preventing a chunk of people from being able to eat.
Well, I mean, charitable organizations used to step up and take care of that before the government did. and they still do now.
Bigger cracks is what I'm saying. So 20% of people went without food.
Job of it.
I mean, I think that's I think this is a bit of the game we were talking about earlier when we talk about streamers and people that are grifting, right? I think you're kind of engaged in the same behavior you accused Pisco of earlier, which is that my arguments, and you've had a very long conversation. And I think if you just step back and look at it for a moment, how has this war on poverty, how has this social welfare state benefited us? And what we have seen is that the evidence is that it hasn't. It has harmed us deeply. It's harmed our culture. It's harmed our society. It's harmed our social relationships. And most importantly, obviously, though probably not to you, but maybe more, in terms of my ordered list of values, it has hurt us economically. It has stopped us from being able to do things like cure cancer, have the flying cars, whatever that dream is of that future, when the majority of all of your wealth is taken and the values are devoid of it. That's really the argument that I'm making. Isn't that that we as a society, I'm not saying we as a society ought not let people fall through the cracks. I 100% agree with you. We as a society shouldn't let people starve. We as a society should lift up people that are harmed or injured. But these things should not be done devoid of value. And so what you are doing is you are helping those that can't help themselves simply because they can't help themselves. Not in a reciprocal way.
Yeah. You just said that, like, I'm engaging in bad faith, never really gave a reason how, and then just made a bunch of really vague.
We just gave like an hour and a half conversation about how. We've been
telling you about how
the breakdown of the state. And
I listened to your quote. I listened to your quote, and then I responded to your quote.
Why are you individuating it from the larger conversation?
I just listened to because I wasn't here for part of it. I was engaging with my wife who was going to bed.
Okay, so but you were here for a very large portion of us discussing.
Quote. Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about a ton of things, rambling for.
Right, but you want to individuate the quote.
So I responded to something specific, and you're like,
that he's in it of
what
itself
about everything else? I'm talking about something specific that he said. The reason why what the quote you brought up was incorrect is thus. And you're like, but what about the rest of the stuff? I don't care.
Right. So you're engaging in the same grifting midwittery.
No, I didn't listen to the entire hour and a fucking half, so I don't have the context. So I'm just talking about your quote.
No, you're individuating it. You listened to most of it, and you're choosing to ignore.
No, I didn't. I did not.
You're lying.
I'm telling you, I did not.
You're being dishonest.
My camera was down for fucking 30 minutes.
Right, but you know that there's a larger argument here that you're not engaged with.
Yeah, I've engaged a few times with it, but I was responding particularly in that statement to your quote. Instead of engaging that, you said, well, you're really just not responding to everything I said in the last hour and a half, so I don't actually have to respond to your correct critique that took my quote down. I can just call you bad faith and move on. And that's exactly what you did.
No, I'm calling you bad faith because you're being bad faith, and I don't think your critique is correct.
But again, you didn't assert how. You just said, I don't think that's correct.
No, I did. I responded to. You're lying again.
No. You've talked 75% of the time.
You didn't listen to any of that 75% according to you.
Yes, I wasn't here for a large percentage of it. I was critiquing something individually. You're refusing to talk about this because you don't
have your cake and eat it too. You can't say
my cake and eat it too.
Yeah. Talking a lot doesn't make me wrong in the past.
You are dodging it because you don't.
I'm not dodging. I'm not dodging. So no, you're talking over me because I'm about to prove you wrong. You're trying to put more time into things. This is disingenuous debate, bro. Bullshit. This is disingenuous. So hold on. I'm going to dispel your lies front and center. So first and foremost,
I'm actually going to go. I have to go to sleep.
But I'm going to go to bed in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep.
I'll be very clean. I'll be very clean and prove the claims that I've made.
I gave an argument, you just dodged it, and now I'm going to dispel everything you said.
No, you're talking
one at a time.
No, you're talking.
You ran away from the argument.
I didn't run away. You're trying to claim victory, and you're lying, and now you're taking your headphone off and running away. Right. So
I like it here. It's very exciting.
So just for the audience's sake, I did respond to his critique. And I did say that we ought to help people through that. and that isn't the argument, but that the argument is that it's disassociated with its values. So I connected in my response to the larger conversation that we had been discussing, which he said he didn't listen to, even though he was sitting here for most of it. And then at the same time, when he was trying to stop me from remaking the argument that I did, he invoked the fact that I had been speaking for a long time and that he had listened to it. So this is multiple contradictions within the argument that he made, and he knows that, and that's why he just ran away. And this is the grifting, and he's mad because I said that I'm pointing out that this is the very grifting, clout chasing kind of, herding cats and dogs mentality of making and saying magic words instead of engaged in real argumentation. That it's kind of got me disillusioned with the entire space.
Sure. I don't want to get too deep into this, and I'm just gonna kind of just give you this perspective, right? Like the whole thing about socialism and that they had to fill in these cracks. That is, that's horseshit, right? Like prior to, like, even in the Great Depression, you had people coming together, banding together to give to provide soup kitchens. They didn't need the government to do that. It was communities getting together and doing it. People helping people, not the government, right? And it was, while you can say that they were collectives of people who would get together and maybe farm a piece of land to have enough food for several families, because that's not communism. That's not a collective per se. That's everybody putting in effort, everybody getting a little bit out, and whatever they had, they sold off and used it to buy extra stuff, right?
Like the distinction there is important, right? Which is,
yes,
it is a collective. It doesn't make it communism. It's
right.
Individuals choosing based upon the values that the individual has to associate with a larger trade network, so that they can have collective power to be able to envision or enshrine their values into reality. That's very different than government, right? Which is not shared values. It's the exact opposite of shared values. It's competition, and it's a perversion of the concept of competition within the market by saying that winner takes all, and then demands from those that are not giving their values towards those things.
There's no issue of force when you're talking about like if you and me and Cleaner decided that we were going to
voluntary.
If we were going to go buy a ranch in Texas, and we wanted to raise beef, and that way we could have beef, and whatever beef we didn't need, we would sell off, and we would split that profit and reinvest part of it. And that's, while it is a collective, we are collectively coming together to do that. We're not forced to do it. We're not made to do it. There's no requirement for us to do it. And if Cleaner said, hey, you know what? I'm out. I put a lot of fucking work into this. I'm not seeing the reward, and I'm fucking out. I'm going to go get a job at the factory. We wouldn't send men with guns to stop Cleaner from doing that, right? We would give him his share of.
I mean, unless he signed a contract with an exit clause for a certain amount of money, we're going to get that money back, Cleaner.
I mean, even if I did, I still wouldn't recommend coming at me with guns.
Yeah. But the thing is that this is an important distinction. And I like to use the example of the Great Depression, because that's when people who were speculating, and there was a lot of socialist elements in this country that failed miserably during that period of time, because you can't force people into prosperity. It just doesn't work that way. And so what you
can force people into a pseudo equality, though, by pulling everyone down.
Yes, if you pull everyone down, yes. But what we saw is we coming out of the Great Depression, we saw the Vanderbilts and all of these very wealthy families become even wealthier, and at the same time they were pulling up the towns that they invested in and gave people jobs.
Right, a rising tide raises all ships. Right,
rising tide raises all ships. But if you talk to a socialist about that, they will tell you that was an exploitation of the working class, and that they needed the unions, they needed the strike breakers. We all remember the railroad strike breakers, right? That were tearing up railroads and that sort of thing. I mean, if you read any history, you remember it. And
Yeah.
so our country is replete with examples of how every time that socialism is attempted or tried, it fails miserably. And we have all those communes out in Boulder that where they would go out and they would be a socialist culture and they would fail because you can't you can't force each other into a prosperous state.
Mhm.
You just can't. And so
You know, when they're voluntary, sometimes they work. Like the Oneida community is an example of a voluntary,
yeah, sure.
fairly communist society. But the hilarious thing of that is that it eventually just turned into a capitalist enterprise, and now they
Sure.
make
It
now
almost
they make kitchen
always does.
appliances. You
Right.
know,
It almost always does because you
yeah.
end up needing to make money to buy things from other people who are outside of your collective. And when you need to make money, you
I don't think
become
it's no.
entrepreneur.
It's not so much that you need to make money as it
You need to
is
trade.
that in order to have a functional, orderly society that
Mhm.
produces results, you need an established hierarchy, and the more that that hierarchy goes against reality, which is the more that hierarchy is imposed, the more it costs,
Yeah.
right? So, there's almost no like if I want to learn how to do competition shooting, right?
Yeah.
And I go to you and I say, "Hey, I like you as a person. I
Mhm.
value you. We share values. You're cool. We vibe, and I recognize your expertise in this field above and beyond what it is that I know. And I would love to give you something in exchange for you to teach me something in exchange." This is a voluntary hierarchy, right?
Right.
There's almost no cost to the system because
Sure.
in the game theory kind of aspect of it, there's no imposition because I recognize it. I recognize you as an authority figure in this domain. And so capitalism is a means, and money making is a means of allowing the natural expression of voluntary hierarchy to be realized in a complex system, right? So it's not necessarily that you need to make money, but it's that if the people put a leader above them and they don't agree with that leader, then that leader has to use force or fear or power in order to maintain order and stability. And that comes at some form of cost, be it psychological, be it economic, whatever it is, right? And because value is subjective and because work and labor deal with the psychology and psychic profit exists, all of it becomes economic in expressed in one way or the other. So there's a net cost to society that is directly correlated to the amount of power that needs to be imposed or propaganda or whatever it is, right? In order to bridge the gap between the reality versus the imposition of whether or not that hierarchy is a real hierarchy, whether or not that
Sure.
hierarchy is an imposed hierarchy.
Well, and also whether or not it's a working one.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
communism
Yeah.
is anti-hierarchical, right? It denies the existence of hierarchy. And so it contradicts with reality in such an extreme way. That is why it always fails. Whereas our system contradicts with reality, right? The concept of a president being like and being elected by the will of the people is an asinine and retarded concept because, half or more now of the country hates Donald Trump. So he must use power in order to impose the hierarchy onto the people because most people don't like the guy, right? But
Yeah.
our founding fathers recognize this to a certain degree, and we do such a great disservice to them by not being anarchists, in my opinion, by not continuing their legacy of their philosophy, but instead reverting deeper into liberalism and constitutionalism and all this other stuff. But they created the Constitution as an attempt to solve or to minimize this problem, right? They recognized that a direct democracy was retarded. They recognized that you needed an aristocracy of elites. That's why the senators were never meant to be elected by their people, right? And they recognized that we needed a hierarchy and that getting millions of people to agree on one person was going to be a very, very difficult thing. So they wanted a system that closely both matched the collective will of the people insofar as that isn't a contradiction, which it is.
Yeah.
But insofar as it's as close as reality as we can get, as well as an aristocracy that is more knowledgeable in their expertise to be able to maintain the order and stability of that system.
Yeah.
But communism is a bridge so much farther against reality, and thus it costs more to maintain.
It's a hallucination for sure. Guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up here. I'm going to raid you guys over to a cool gun channel guy. He probably needs the viewers. And, such as there are.
Damn, you don't have to say it like that. He probably needs them.
I'm just saying, you guys need to go give him some love. And I may hang out over there for a minute, but I'm going to go to bed here really quickly. Great seeing you again, Scott. Good to see you, Cleaner. All of you guys have been cool tonight. I really appreciate everybody that came out. I am gonna have more information about doing the Grid Con in Dallas. I think that's going to be really cool. Although I do have to find some way to pay for it this time. I paid for the whole thing out of pocket last time. I'm not going to do that again. Although I think it'll be cheaper in Texas, so that'll be cool. Anyway, you guys have fun and be cool. And as always, just wear the glasses if you need them and get off.